When I first started making videos 15 months ago, I never, not one time, ever attacked another channel, made negative reference to another channel, or took issue with anything any other channel was reporting. However, I was attacked mercilessly by many channels. This one particularly, even though I had said multiple times I agreed with 95% of its content and had recommended it. Last night, I put out a video trying to mend fences, trying to support, and for my efforts, the pledge that I had given to the Patreon account was refunded and returned in a repudiation. And then very shortly after, while I'm not mentioned specifically in this video, basically she complains and bitches and moans about people blocking her when she tries to educate them about firearms. Even though I tried to reach out, I tried to find common ground, I tried to be reasonable. She has me blocked and her husband's channel has me blocked. So fine. Even though this has happened, in this video she put out just a few hours ago, I literally agree with every single thing she says. Every single thing she says. And mark my words, if I had said what she says in this video, I guarantee I would be demonetized and probably lose half my subs. But not her. So, whatever, the hypocrites have come out of the woodwork in force in the last, I'd say week or so. I mean, I do hundreds of videos that don't mention a word one about politics. And every other comment, though, on them is Obama this or Hillary that or make-believe deep state this. But hell, heaven help, I actually make a video where I say something backed up with fact, historical fact about the current High Holy Eminence in Washington. Oh, that's the end of the world. That's the end of the world if I say anything negative about Mr. doing a great job. Mr. who has made an enemy of literally every country in the world, at least in this hemisphere. I mean, seriously, Canada, Trudeau, do you think he respects us? There's been 2 phone calls between the current administrator and the president of Mexico, Nieta. If he thinks he's having a hard time getting them, both have resulted in hang-ups, by the way. And he's had to send Kushner down there to fix it. If he thinks he's getting problems with Nieta right now, wait till Obrador takes power, which he's going to in a couple of months. We'll have literally enemies from our southern border literally to the tip of Argentina. Pretty much all of Asia. But I'm not going to stay on this very much longer. I really don't get this girl at this point. I don't know if she's angry about her being fooled by Trump, or if it's an issue with the pain that she's in from her disease. I continue to recommend praying for her and supporting her, even though she sent my little $5 a month subscription back to me. Such is life. So anyway, not to dwell too much on that, but we had talked about before this issue with Venezuela and Colombia, and how these sanctions are causing a problem for the people of Venezuela, and how they are seeing now that while they may not agree with Mr. Maduro or the things that he's done, the overriding larger problem is the United States. And the current administrator has done nothing to change this. In fact, he's poured gas on this fire, and he has greatly underestimated the effect this is going to have on the U.S. economy and the U.S. going forward. And in this article down here, they talk about this specifically, what I had said before. The political and international analysts said in an interview that despite governments studying new sanctions against Venezuela's dictatorship, there is concern about the consequences to the Venezuelan people. And regardless of this, the current administrator still threatens to ramp up the oil sanctions and believing that there's going to be surrender, that somehow there's going to be this event where Maduro leaves power, takes all of his cronies with him, and then some new form of government takes root down there that's pro-Trump or pro... It's just ridiculous, delusional idiocy. If he thinks that's actually going to be the outcome of these sanctions. Even the people that are against Maduro are completely the opposite of somebody who would support Trump. It's ridiculous. And besides, if Maduro goes, they're going to leave Aysami. And there's going to be days he wished for Chavez if Aysami takes power. It'll create a situation down there with Hezbollah. I mean, they put out this stupid story about this family they found dead in Tula, Mexico, supposedly from carbon monoxide poisoning from a stove. Okay, let me just walk you through that real quick without bringing up a bunch of tabs. Okay, so it's a condo, right? And so the first thing that would happen, an uninhabited one, probably like an Airbnb or something like that, and this family gets there, and what's the first thing they do? It's 90 degrees down there, you walk in, you open the door, you open the windows, and you flush all the old air out. That would be the first thing anyone would do. It would probably be, to save energy. If there were a thermostat, it would be set probably at 82 or 83, because that's what they recommend here for people to keep their bills down, to set their thermostats really, really high. And so it would have been uncomfortably stuffy and warm. So, and they put mercaptan in the stuff down there too. So if there was some kind of a leak from that stove, it would have been noticed immediately. And so they would have flushed the air out and opened the windows. If there was a little air conditioning unit or central air unit, it would have cooled the air. This kind of stuff is heavier than air, and it would sink to the bottom if it was leaking, which I really doubt it was, and would have been leaking in the quantity enough to kill 4 people overnight without anybody waking up and noticing any kind of a problem. It's ridiculous. The story. This is almost as ridiculous as the story with Fitzgerald. But the last place we're going to go today is this. And I said this was going to happen, and I said this was coming, and now it has. The people in the very extreme eastern part of Colombia are now asking the Colombian military to withdraw from that area, because primarily that area is now being controlled by the ELN and forces in Venezuela. And that is covered in this article. I call this. Now, this article was 27 March, just to show you that this wasn't something that I looked at before. Okay, the military are inside homes. Can you imagine groups of those guys? Basically what they're saying is that if a firefight happened in a neighborhood, the military responded to local requests saying they reposition troops but refused to leave the region. That has seen comment between ELN and EPL guerrillas, right and left wing. And just to show you where they're asking the military to withdraw, right where I said it would, right where I said the Venezuelans military was going to try to move through Colombia. And there it is. And down here, strategically located for drug traffickers, smugglers, and guerrillas, flush with resources, oil, wood, mining, ore fertile, blah, blah, blah. FARC demobilization, just like I said. Power vacuum, ELN and EPL fight. The region is now dominated by ELN. But the right-wing militaries, of course, are there. And basically down here, they sum it up very well. Give me 1 second to find it. Meanwhile, the government remains clueless about stopping violence in the region. The Army Division responsible for the region is in chaos. We covered that before because of all of the corruption from being infiltrated by Venezuelan operatives. For decades, illegal armed groups have taken advantage from state abandonment on both sides of the border, moving from one country to the other without problem. Basically stating that there is no way to stop this now. Poor security, and that area might as well not have a border. It's all happening in slow motion, and it's not getting reported anywhere but here. And I'm telling you, Panama will eventually come in the crosshairs of this fight. There's too much wealth there. There's too much U.S. interest there. Not too much, in my opinion, but too much interest for it to go ignored. There's a lot of very wealthy retired Americans down here and in Costa Rica. And when you have a whole bunch of people over here that are starving and in chaos and can't get basic services, and they are ubiquitous over here, they will find a way. So, anyway, I didn't mean for the first part of this video to be much of a rant. I tried to keep my voice down and not yell, but it is clearly not something where people who have ever supported the current administrator are interested in any kind of a dialogue, interested in any kind of reasonable discussion about what the proper direction is going forward. If you ever didn't support him, then you are obviously a Clinton Podesta operative. That's just the easy out. And that goes with, you know, my assessment of the people. So I'll leave it there. Anyway, like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.